2025 today, King Felipe makes historic decision for Princess Leonor's future. It started like any ordinary royal morning in Madrid. The palace gates opened, the Spanish flag waved softly in the winter sun, and the familiar rhythm of royal life moved quietly behind the walls of Zarzuela Palace. But what unfolded just hours later sent shockwaves through Spain, and the entire royal world. Because today, in a move no one predicted, King Felipe VI has made a historic decision about the future of his daughter, Princess Leonor. A decision that will not only define her destiny, but could reshape the Spanish monarchy forever. The world expected routine. Instead, they got history. And behind the royal calm, behind the elegant smiles, one truth became impossible to ignore. Change has come to Spain's royal house. The announcement came without warning. No leaks, no rumors, just a formal statement from Zarzuela Palace. His Majesty the King, after consulting the Crown Council, has made a decision regarding the constitutional role of the Princess of Asturias. That single line was enough to stop the nation. What could this mean? A constitutional role, a change in royal succession. Every journalist, every royal watcher, every citizen wanted answers. But when the king stepped forward to speak, his words went far beyond politics. They spoke of responsibility, legacy, and above all, love for his daughter. Spain, King Felipe began, his voice steady but emotional, has entered a new era, one that requires its future leaders to understand both duty and the people they serve. And so, today, I take a step that will ensure the continuity of our nation, and the strength of our crown. Then came the moment. Felipe announced that Princess Leonor, barely 20 years old, would begin assuming direct constitutional responsibilities, marking the first formal transfer of power to a future monarch in over 4 decades. The chamber fell silent. Even seasoned officials were visibly moved. It wasn't abdication, it wasn't retirement, but it was something Spain had never seen before, a living king sharing the weight of his crown with his heir. The symbolism was enormous. For years, King Felipe has been seen as the stabilizing force of Spain, modern, disciplined, and measured. But today, the world saw something more, a father who trusts his daughter to carry forward his legacy. Princess Leonor, standing beside him, looked every inch the future queen, confident, calm, but visibly emotional. Her gaze flickered between her parents, the crowd, and the Spanish flag that hung behind them. When she finally stepped up to speak, her voice trembled, not from fear, but from the gravity of what she was taking on. "My father has always led with integrity," she said, "and today, I make a promise to follow that example. Spain has given me everything, and now, I dedicate myself to giving everything back." Her words echoed through the royal courtyard. For a moment, even the press fell silent. It was raw, real, and completely unscripted. The emotion of the moment reminded everyone of a simple truth. This wasn't just a royal announcement. It was a passing of the torch. One generation of leadership quietly giving way to the next, not through crisis, but through choice. Behind the scenes, sources inside the palace revealed how deeply personal this decision had been for King Felipe. He had watched Leonor train for years, from her military service in Zaragoza to her education abroad in Wales and the UK. He saw her adapt to international diplomacy, military discipline, and the expectations of a global audience. And in recent months, he saw something even more powerful, her readiness. Felipe knows what the throne demands, one insider shared. He didn't want to wait for the world to decide when she was ready, he wanted to show her that he already believed she was. The reaction across Spain was immediate, and emotional. Crowds gathered outside Zarzuela Palace waving flags and chanting her name, "Viva Leonor." Social media exploded with images of the king and princess standing side by side, a symbol of continuity and change. Some saw it as a strategic move, strengthening public trust in the crown ahead of future reforms. Others saw something more human, a father giving his daughter the future he once carried alone. And across Europe, other royal houses watched closely. Because what Spain had done was unprecedented, a public sharing of constitutional power while the monarch still reigns. A symbolic merging of past and future, live for the world to see. In Copenhagen, where Leonor's marriage to Prince Christian remains the talk of royal circles, Denmark's royal family issued a heartfelt statement of support. Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor continues to embody the modern spirit of leadership Europe needs. Denmark stands with Spain in celebrating this moment. It was more than diplomacy. It was the recognition of a young royal rising into her full destiny, not as a ceremonial figure but as a leader ready to act. Still, behind the celebration, questions began to emerge. Would King Felipe eventually step aside completely? Would Leonor be granted limited governing powers, or was this purely symbolic? And how would Queen Letizia, who has always protected her daughters fiercely, feel about this accelerated transition? Royal experts say Letizia played a crucial role in shaping this decision, encouraging Felipe to trust Leonor's instincts. She knows Leonor better than anyone, one royal journalist explained. She's seen her grow through pressure, criticism, and expectation, and she knew this was the right moment. In her private remarks to palace staff later that day, Queen Letizia said softly, "Spain will not lose a king. It will gain a queen who understands the world her generation lives in." Those words resonated deeply across Spanish media, and for good reason. For the first time in modern royal history, a reigning monarch is guiding his heir into power with full transparency and support. Not behind closed doors, but in the open. And for Leonor, that visibility changes everything. Later that evening, the royal family appeared together on the palace balcony, Felipe, Letizia, Leonor, and Sofia, waving to a massive crowd that had gathered spontaneously in Madrid's city center. There were tears, smiles, and chants of, "Leonor Reina del Futuro, Leonor, Queen of the Future." From the balcony, Leonor turned to her father. Cameras caught the quiet exchange, a hand on his shoulder, a shared smile. It was subtle, but unmistakable, gratitude. Felipe, ever the composed monarch, appeared visibly emotional for the first time in years. And in that silent moment, Spain saw not just a king, but a father saying, "You're ready." As night fell, Spanish television aired a rare documentary special, chronicling Leonor's journey from a young crown princess to the poised woman standing before the nation today. Clips showed her in military training, addressing parliament, and attending global summits. But the most touching moment was one viewers had never seen before, a short, handwritten note from King Felipe to Leonor when she began her military service. It read, "Lead with heart, serve with honor. And never forget, the crown does not define you, your actions do." That letter, now shared publicly, defined the very spirit of today's decision. Royal historians are already calling this, the Zarzuela transition, the first peaceful, voluntary power sharing between a Spanish king and his heir since the 18th century. But to the Spanish people, it's something much simpler, the beginning of a new chapter of hope. Because for decades, the Spanish monarchy has faced scrutiny, political tension, and generational distance. But now, with Leonor stepping forward, the monarchy feels relatable again, modern, emotional, human. As one commentator put it tonight, "For years, we asked if the monarchy could survive. Today, we saw it evolve." In the days ahead, Leonor is expected to take part in a series of official ceremonies, including an expanded oath of service and a new role in Spain's Defense Council. She will also represent Spain in an upcoming European Union Leadership Forum, her first major international duty as co-representative of the Crown. But beyond the headlines and history books, the deeper story remains one of love, courage, and trust. A father passing on more than authority, passing on belief. And so, as Spain settles into this new reality, one image will linger above all. Princess Leonor standing beside her father, both royal, both human, both ready to lead. The world has watched her grow from a shy princess into a confident leader. But now, it's no longer a question of when. It's happening now. 2025 has marked the moment when Spain looked at its royal future, and saw it standing tall, steady, and full of promise. King Felipe's decision wasn't just a royal decree. It was a father's faith in his daughter. And it reminded the world of something timeless, that even the greatest crowns must one day be shared, to ensure they endure. Because true legacy doesn't end with one reign, it begins with the courage to pass it on.